welcome back to At the Table. This week we have, again, a good bit of variety. We finally have a new Symbiote book coming out, and a few other really cool and interesting books. And we have this one book that's based on, like, toy action figures, my dad said, that he used to have. I don't know. But there's a lot of cool books. There's quite a few variants, not an over-excessive amount, but definitely a good batch of books this week.
Yeah, so stay tuned and let's talk comics.
Yeah, so welcome back to At the Table. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jason, father and son team, back here talking comics.
Yep, and like we said, this week is full of some good books. I'm very happy a new Symbiote book is coming out. The Amazing Spider-Man, Infinite Destinations, or Destinies.
I feel like there's a lot of solid books that'll be good reads.
Yeah.
There's none, I mean, there's maybe one or two that I'm like
Super
kind of
hyped
excited,
for.
but last week I felt like I had more books that I was like really stoked for.
There's still some cool books.
But it's still a good haul, and we did end up with a good mix of some cool variants and a new series of those anime covers, which we'll get into. But let's get right to it, and let's go with Carpool Pick. What is the book that you had to read before you could even wait to get home, and why did you pick it?
The Amazing Spider-Man, number 2, Infinite Destinies Annual.
Yep, the annual.
Okay, so, first off, the Infinite Destinies, I've been trying to keep up with, and so far it's been pretty good, but, I really love this book because Star was in it, and Star was a really early book that we just grabbed off the wall.
That original miniseries with Star.
Yep.
Early in our collecting, we both liked a lot, so we've chased it. Anything. I think that's probably why this one caught your eye.
Yeah, and I read it. It was super good. The art was really good in it. Very, very lighthearted. It seemed even lighter than like the normal Amazing Spider-Man. It seemed like a good Spider-Man book. I really enjoyed this. Good,
because I'm tired of the regular Spider-Man book feels dark. We've been checked out of it for a little while, but it seems like there's a lot going on. So I can only watch Peter suffer so much. So luckily there's a whole bunch of other Spider-Man books that we can read and enjoy. And I like the cover a lot on this, but I
think they
wish they hadn't cluttered it up so much.
Yeah, with all the letters and like the webs everywhere, I think.
Or I would have loved like a Virgin or a trade dress version of this one. Because I like the way the Spidey's drawn. I like Star. But like all this extra noise over here, I don't know. It's almost an eyesore with the way that they're marketing the book and they've got all this here. But otherwise, I really like that cover.
Yeah, so that was the Carpool Pick. Let's talk about our favorites from last week now.
Should I go first?
What do you want?
Yeah, I'll go first.
Okay.
I'll give you a little bit of time. I spent a good bit of today debating on, as I do most days that we film these videos, I was kind of really thinking about what I had read and which ones that I really liked from last week. And it came down to a close tie between the Green Arrow 80th anniversary issue and Crossover. Ultimately, I think Crossover nudges out the Green Arrow book just a bit, and I'll tell you why in a second. But first, what I like about the Crossover book, we are on a Chip Zdarsky tear lately. He's writing so much great stuff. Crossover was already a fun book, and just kind of the running gag for this book with Chip Zdarsky writing this book. He's a character in the book. I don't really want to give it away. It was a really fun book. It felt like a little bit of a break from what's going on in after the big revelation at the end of the last arc. So Crossover continues to be a book I'm enjoying very much. We get at the end of this book, we do get introduced to two characters who are crossing over that are kind of a big deal. So hang in there for that. I think it's a great issue. Definitely worth reading. Now to kind of circle back, the reason I picked Crossover over the Green Arrow book, and I really like the Green Arrow book. We both love that character. I think you need to catch up on that one. It was a kind of a slew of stories for Green Arrow throughout his run, some going pretty far back to his earliest days, some very recent. I was really excited about the Jeff Lemire story, which kind of wraps up the character as we know it. And I read it, and it ended up, it's not that I disliked it, but it was by far not my absolute least favorite in the book, but it was one of my least favorite stories, surprisingly, in that book. And it came down to the ending felt kind of like a mirror of the ending from Gideon Falls, which I was really kind of ultimately disappointed with. This just without going into spoilers, if you've read both, drop a comment down below and let me know what you think. But I felt like there were some definite similarities between this short story and the ending of that one. ultimately that's why I ended up picking Crossover over the Green Arrow, although it was really close. Still a great book. There were some really great stories that surprised me in there that I would have never thought would have been my favorite. So that was my pick and my debate process. So what was your favorite for last week?
Better Ray Bill number 4. So this book was super great. It made me super sad at the end, but it was super great. If any of you don't know what the Better Ray Bill current series is about, it's basically him on this search, on this quest for a new weapon, to replace Stormbreaker.
And the weapon is more important to him. It's not just an awesome weapon, right? It's kind of about his lifestyle and some of his insecurities, I think, about who he is and what he is. So going too much more into it will be kind of spoilery. We want to avoid that because we love this series. But we've still got one more issue left, so I think it's going to end on an up note, and I'm really hoping we see more of this character.
Okay, so I'm going first. Extreme Carnage, part 1 of 8. This was very close on the Carpool pick, but I really like comfy chair, and I wanted to read in a comfy chair, so I read in a comfy chair.
So it's not that you like Star so much, it's that you knew you were going to love this book and wanted to do it in a comfy chair.
Pretty much. This book is about Carnage and Anti-Venom. Essentially how the cover is. It goes in basically about this anti-alien rally law type
and we get
thing.
a little bit of that at the end of Venom, right?
Yeah.
We kind of see the last issue of Venom. We see some of the fallout from the King of Black stuff.
Yeah. But anyway, this was really good read. I would definitely recommend it. Definitely a good book in terms of symbiote.
And this is the lead in to a whole upcoming event, right? That's kind of focused on the Carnage and the Life Foundation symbiotes, right?
Yep. It wasn't the only thing I disliked about this book. It wasn't my favorite art, but other people might really like it. It just wasn't for me.
Some of the faces and stuff were drawn weird for some of the characters we really like. I haven't read it yet, but you pointed out some of what bothered you, and I could see that. But it sounded like it's still a great story, so I'm looking forward to reading that one.
Yep. You want to go next on your?
Yep, and not a carpool pick, but I'm going to cop to the fact that I snuck in reading this one before we filmed. So it definitely stays on the list. The Nice House on the Lake #2 by Tinian. And I really enjoyed, if you saw our video the week that this came out, I really enjoyed, I think a lot of people really enjoyed the first issue of this. It was kind of surprising in the direction that it went. Not necessarily what I was expecting. I think we're starting to see what maybe this book's going to be about, and I think it's pretty interesting concept. I'm still on board. My only gripe with it, if it's anything, is that there's a few, just like there was in the first issue of this, there's like some long walls of text where you get parts of the story, and that's not always my favorite thing in a comic book. I'd rather have, I'm reading comics for the art and the dialogue go together, but we've got several pages that are just like long walls of text. But that being said, a great story. I think an interesting preview of what's to come, and watching these people kind of adjust to the situation that we're in. It's going to be an interesting read. I'm looking forward to seeing how this book progresses.
Okay, so next up, Batman Fortnite 0 Point number 6. This has been on my pick list a lot if you've been following with all of our weekly comic calls. But anyway, this book is amazing. It's really going into Fortnite lore. The ending was amazing on this book, like absolutely amazing. And this book in general was really good.
So does it leave, I've gotten the sense from some of the reviews and things that I've read and previews that maybe this series, the ending of it, while it wraps up this arc and the story, that maybe it leaves some room for doing other stuff in the Fortnite.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I will say this mashup of Batman and Fortnite and this kind of crossover book should not have been, I expected you to like it because you like Fortnite. And you were really diehard in the Fortnite for at least a little while.
Yeah.
But I didn't really necessarily expect to like it, and it's been really fun. Like every week that's come out, it's been one of the more fun books to read. And you're right, it gave lore to Fortnite, which is crazy because I don't know, they managed to wrap around the story around that type of game. They did really well with it, and I think it's a rare opportunity in this book. It's a great tool for a parent who maybe is already reading comics that has been having a hard time getting their kid into reading them or giving them a try, because chances are they may like Fortnite or at least have heard about it. So I think this can be a great tool to kind of read together with your kid and maybe get them, because once you've read this one, comic books are like potato chips. You can't do just one, right?
Yep.
So what do you got now?
I think it's your turn.
Oh, it is my turn. I'm going to go with Noctera, number 5. And it's just a book that's on my list simply because I'm really just enjoying this run. Every week that it comes out, it's an interesting read, and it's been a slow kind of build up, and I think we're coming near the end of the first arc. And our main character, Val / Sundog here, has been basically trying to save her brother, and things are kind of coming to a front where she's going to have to choose between her brother and kind of tackling some bigger issues at large. So really looking forward to how this first arc wraps up and kind of gives us a hint at where this book is going longer term.
Okay, so for my last pick, this is the He-Man Masters of the Universe Revelation. This is the official prequel to the upcoming Netflix animated series. So essentially, thought the cover looked cool, and he told me I should read it because he had these toys from like when dinosaurs were still alive that he would play with about this. So he basically said I should read it.
You're not wrong. So I do have fond memories of that cartoon when I was a kid. Was basically just a big commercial for a series of action figures, which I will dig out. They're still at Poppy's house up in the attic. I still have them all, including Castle Grayskull, which is awesome, by the way. Anyway, I don't dare revisit that cartoon as an adult because I know what it is, and I know it was as an adult, know it was pretty bad, and I don't want to ruin those good memories. But Kevin Smith is writing on this, and he's involved with the Netflix show, and I have a lot of faith in him. And if anyone can make He-Man, bring him into the modern age, make him more relevant, and tell a cool story, I think he's got a pretty good shot at it. So yeah, I'm making you read that one because if nothing else, you'll be able to make fun of me next week and tell me how horrible it was.
Yep. Okay.
And for my final pick, I'm just going with another book that I'm really, really enjoying reading. No crazy spec or crazy covers or anything, just solid story that I'm enjoying issue after issue, and that's Geiger number 4. I'm not usually a huge fan of like post-apocalyptic stories, but I think the combination of this guy's origin story, being a family man turned kind of hero-ish guy, I don't know. I'm enjoying the art. I'm enjoying the story. And this one's kind of ramping up as the action ticks up and there's a bunch of people out to kind of get Geiger. We've learned a good bit about his backstory, but I'm kind of really curious to see where this one goes because I don't think we can't spend forever on his backstory, and I think that's playing out. So great story so far. I've enjoyed it issue after issue. I think it's one that you could read. It's not too over the top and any adult or super violent stuff. So I'm probably going to make you read this at some point. I think you'll think it's a solid read too.
Okay, so let's get started with our variants.
Yep, grab the variant pile. I think it's over there on your side.
Okay, let's get started with some of the animated covers. You want to talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, we've talked about Peach Momoko a few times, and a lot of people love her. We've kind of, early on, we didn't like a lot of her stuff, but she's been, in her recent work, she's been growing on us. And I'll admit, when I first heard anime covers, I think that's what Marvel or anime-styled covers is what they've kind of been billed as. I don't think it really does these justice. And in fact, it was John who said, no, you need to look at them. And then when I saw them, I was like, yeah, I actually want to collect them. Go ahead and get us the whole series. So I think there's, I don't know, maybe a dozen or so of these coming over the next few weeks. And we're one short, which I'll put up. We were in such a hurry to get you to your mountain biking practice today that we forgot to grab one out of our pool box. So we'll go back and get that, but I'll put a picture up.
Okay, so let's get started with the first anime cover. This is Earth's Mightiest Heroes, The Avengers, number 46, Blade cover.
Yeah, just a pretty cool cover all around. Not even a title we're reading, but we grabbed this one for the cover and to collect these anime covers. Next
up, The Immortal Hulk number 48, again an anime cover.
And almost my favorite, but I think I'm gonna go with the next one as my favorite for these. So yeah, I do like the art. This is, I guess she's growing on us.
Yeah.
I don't think her style has changed so much. Maybe it's just she's finally drawing some characters we really dig in a way that, I don't know, it's definitely clicking with us all of a sudden. So this one's a pretty cool one.
You want to go ahead and introduce your favorite?
Yeah, we've got the Goblin from Amazing Spider-Man. I think this is, I like the look and feel of this cover. So really digging that. And I will go ahead, and we forgot the X-Men number 1 cover, which I will go ahead and put up, but we'll pick that up. It's not like we're not at the shop usually a couple times a week, so we'll grab it next time we go by Brainstorm.
Okay, so let's start with the Batman Fortnite 0.6 variant covers. This is an A or a B or a C. There's so many, honestly.
I dig this one. It's definitely it definitely captures that art, kind of the blending of the Batman and the Fortnite styles that we like so much. So, pretty cool cover.
Next up, Batman Fortnite 0. I think this is a B. I really love this cover. This is my favorite cover.
I do too, and I just feel like it captures the chaos of that type of like battle royale game. And there's so many. I mean, before we were filming, you were looking at it and just going over all the characters. Like, oh, there's Jonesy. Oh, there's this character. They just put so many of them in there. So, fun cover. I'm sad to see that come to an end because you and I have really enjoyed it. I don't remember what the last item is in-game loot.
So for this item, it is a axe.
Oh, whose axe is it?
It's just Batman's.
Ooh, and because I think this is the last code, putting this code in, if you've done all the others, you get the really cool armored Batman skin, which we will pop up to show you guys.
Yep. Okay, so let's get started with finally something that is not Batman Fortnite 0.6. This is a Magic the Gathering cover. So we already opened our special variant, and we got
the hidden Planeswalker variant.
Yep, we got Nicholas Bolas.
You know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and say this is my favorite cover for the week.
For sure, it's really good.
Yeah, it is. They captured him perfectly. And I've been meh on the story and the art and in the pages itself, but I do really like some of these Planeswalker covers. It makes me want to play some Commander soon. If you're watching, Randy, we really need to play Commander soon. But great cover. We will show the regular A cover on this, but this cover is my favorite of the week.
Next up, the Amazing Spider-Man number 70. Not my favorite cover.
I think that's a 1 in 25.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for all the Carnage and the 0 point stuff, I think our variant pile would have been light this week. I liked this one. It clicked with me, and I don't know. I like the variants. I'm a sucker for that stuff, or the incentive variants rather. I try to pick up one a week. I like to talk about them, like to add them to the collection. And I looked, and this is the one that I settled on.
Okay, so we are going into the Extreme Carnage variants. So this one is a connecting cover, I believe.
I think it's the Johnson Connecting A variant.
Yep, so I really, really like this because it has the Carnage border like the Agent Anti-Venom. It has a little nameplate underneath in the Extreme Carnage in the corner. Really good variant. This looks really amazing.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Thank goodness we have plenty of Carnage. Like I said, it helped our variant pile this week.
So, like I was just talking about, this is the Agent Anti-Venom version of that. This is my favorite. I love Flash Thompson. Really good.
Pretty sure that is another, like I said, another connecting. And that one, this is Johnson Connecting B variant. Was the other one also Johnson?
Yeah, it was, I believe.
Yep, so that's the Johnson B connecting variant. It jives. The art style is very similar.
Yep. Okay, so for our last, or second to last, Extreme Carnage Alpha variant, we have the wraparound cover.
I think that's you?
Yep. What? It looks amazing.
Yeah, that's a great cover. Actually, if I had seen the wraparound, now that I see that, I don't know. It's going to be tough between the Nicol Bolas cover and that is my favorite for the week. That's a gorgeous cover.
Yeah, definitely great. Okay, so for our last variant and last Extreme Carnage variant for the week, we have the SY Scotty Young.
And that's a pretty cool one. I like that one a lot.
It's definitely very good.
We did miss, and we'll flip it up. It'll make sure it gets into our box, but there was an X-Men number 1 Scotty Young variant that we missed. We were just in a hurry.
Yes.
So we were not on our A game today, but we will make sure that one gets added. But I think actually of those two, that's my favorite of the Scotty Youngs that came out this week.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, you want to get started with just your normal books?
Yeah, let's get through. It's a pretty good week. Like I said, there's a lot of really solid reads. I think we've gotten through the exciting stuff, but let's go through the rest of this. We've got Suicide Squad number 5, and I'm current on this. I think you've read some of this too, at least the stuff that crossed over with Teen Titan Academy. Mm-hmm. So I've been enjoying that. And kind of the whole like Red X and Teen Titan Academy crossover part of that been really interesting. So that's been a fun read, and one of the books that we jumped on once the Infinite Frontier stuff started for DC.
Do you want to go and do that one?
Yeah, like I said, I kind of jumped off the book because the story wasn't really capturing me.
But we still been picking up all them Planeswalker
And the covers, and
variants.
I just always forget to take it off. But the Planeswalker variants, the art is so cool. So that's Magic number 4. I think this is a limited series anyway, so I'll just wait and finish it. And since we've got it, I'll go ahead and read it. But I'm not going to rush, to be honest, because like I said, I got about 2.5 issues in, and I was just kind of like, eh. So this is a fun series. We need to catch up on
Ooh,
this.
it's season 2?
Yep.
Batman: The Adventure Continues, season 2, number 2.
Yep, just the fun continuation of Batman the Animated Series in cartoon form. I think that'll be a nice change of pace. There's so many Batman books, but this is kind of a different one. So, what you got there?
Basilisk Chapter 2.
Wow, surprise, another Colin Bunn book. That guy is really kicking out a bunch of books lately. And this, I enjoyed number 1. It wasn't my favorite. I mean, it's a solid book. I want to give it another couple of issues before I pass judgment on it. It's an interesting premise, but for some reason it didn't grab me as much as some of the other stuff he's done. But it's a good enough book that it stayed on the pull list, and I want to see where it goes because it's still really hard. At least I can't get a feel for a comic after just one issue, and there was enough promise in this that I'll be at least on it for a couple more. We've got Wonder Woman.
Sensational Wonder Woman, number 5.
Yeah, I just like the B cover for this. That's why I made sure I grabbed it. I like the card stock Wonder Woman covers, even though we're way behind in her story post-Future State.
Yeah, this is a really good cover. Batman.
I think that's a jock cover.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Totally, this is a case where absolutely spend the extra buck and get this cover instead of the A cover. And it's a gorgeous cover. We're a little behind in this Batman run, but I do want to catch up soon. But that cover is definitely a contender for cover of the week too.
The cover and the Spider-Man drawing this is pretty good.
Same thing though. I don't like they ruined an otherwise good cover in these Spider-Man books this week with the extra marketing stuff.
They clud everything in. It's not worth it.
Amazing Spider-Man 70. We are leading into what do they call the Sinister War. I'm hoping that's a jumping on point for us, but some of the stuff that I'm reading, I don't know if it's just more of making Peter miserable. I'm not sure. I'll wait a little while longer before I jump back into the main title. There's so many other cool Spider-Man books that are just fun, which is really what I want out of. Yeah, you're right. Which is really what I want out of a Spider-Man book.
Beasts of Burden, number 4, Dark Horse, by the way.
Yep. This is one that I purposely, it's not that I've fallen behind on, I've been waiting on. My plan is, I finished Stray Dogs. That's when I decided that I needed more comic books with dogs in my life. So we found For Molly, and was In the Woods, I think was the prequel to that, which was really amazing. So I'm going through For Molly now. When I'm done with that, I'm going to hop over to this book. And then maybe this is not the first series with these characters, so I may go try to find a trade or something else if it scratches that itch.
The Walking Dead Deluxe, number 18. Image.
Yep, and we've talked about it. This is just the deluxe reissue of this story. I'm enjoying. I didn't read it the first time around. I think I've mentioned that a couple of times. It's been a fun way for me to kind of read the story as if it was coming out the first time.
Locust, number 2, Scout Comics.
Yep, and I'm behind on this one, but this one is a post-apocalyptic tale where some type of virus has turned a bunch of the world's population into these locust creatures. I'll catch up on it. It's Scout. I'm sure I'm going to like it.
I don't exactly know what the name of this is. It looks like Flash.
Skybound X.
Looks like Flash with a lightsaber.
So Skybound X, number 1. This is the first of, I think, maybe a weekly series. It's kind of coming out for a little bit to celebrate the Skybound imprint. So I believe we've got a new Walking Dead story in here. Maybe is it Ultra Mega? Yep, another Ultra Mega, Manifest Destiny, and Clementine. Sounded like an interesting story. And wow, that cover is, I do like that. That cover is crazy. It looks like if Green Lantern was in a zombie apocalypse wielding a lightsaber.
I think it looks like Wally West.
Wally West? But that totally looks like a lightsaber, man.
It does, I know.
So I feel like that description was something that you would use to describe a book that you had no clue about. Stole a page out of your book.
Jerk. Okay, so next up, Commanders in Crisis, number 10.
Fun series that I'm a little bit behind in. I'm probably 4 or 5 issues at this point, but I intend to catch up. I liked it enough. It wasn't that I didn't like it. It's just there's been so much good stuff to read that I'm gonna catch up on that at some point. Same thing with this next book.
Post American number 6. This is from Image.
Yep, Post Americana. And there's another, even, I don't know, I just realized, I made a horrible realization. You know how John always says I don't like horror books, but then there's always horror books? I always say I don't like post-apocalyptic books.
You do.
But I've got them, and there's at least a couple, and I gotta reevaluate my entire taste in comics now. This has been a fun story. I will catch up on it. I can't talk too much about it because I'm behind, and I don't want to spoil what I have read.
Serial.
Number 5. That's the story
Number
about.
5.
Basically, I didn't read the original series, but I've read the first couple of this one, which is that little girl on the cover had been originally, I think, possessed by a demon, and so she's actually super older than she looks, and she knows how to fight, and I think she's basically hunting serial killers. That's what I took from the first couple of issues. It was an interesting book. I liked it. I've got to catch up.
A or I?
A.
Aftershock then. Out of Body number 2.
Another one that I liked but didn't love, and I want to see where it goes, but I feel like this premise has been done. We've got a guy in a coma who basically needs to solve his own murder, or attempted murder, because he's not quite dead yet. So we've got a psychic that can connect with him and help guide him. I feel like it's been done a bunch of times. I did like the art. The characters are likable, and it's just, so far, it's just been pretty okay. So I'm hoping it picks up and goes in a different direction that surprises me, but it's at least an enjoyable book so far.
So for our very last book of the night, we have Deep Beyond, number 6, Image Comics again.
Yep, that's another one that I keep hearing good things about, but I'm so far behind on. So, but I can't. I'm terrible about. It's very hard for me to give up on a book and take it off the list. I can't even dump the Magic book, which I actually just haven't really liked all that much. I haven't gotten around to canceling. But I think I'm going to like this book, so that's why it stayed on the list.
Yeah.
So I know it's a little bit of a lighter week for you. I feel like I've got like FOMO when it comes to comic books. Maybe that's why my section of the pool list is always so darn big. I'm always afraid I'm going to miss the next big thing or miss out on a great story and then not be able to get it. So that's why it's bigger and bigger pool lists, and I fall further and further behind. But you've got some solid reads.
Yeah, I got quite a few. I think I've already read all the reads.
And I think you're either really going to love the He-Man book, or you're really going to love making fun of me next week for having had those action figures as a kid.
Even if I love it, I'm
never
just going to make
admit
fun of you.
Most likely. So that's it for this week. Thanks for watching. As always, if you think we missed anything, if we missed your favorite book for some reason, or there's some awesome hidden gem of an indie out there somewhere that we really need to read based on what you think we've mentioned that we like, please drop a comment below. We're always looking for our next favorite read, especially if it's a father-son read.
Yeah.
So what else should folks do for us?
Give us one of these.
Give us one of these, as Poppy would say. If you're enjoying our content, please take a minute to like and subscribe. We really do. We do this mostly because we enjoy. It's our excuse to father-son talk comics, but we do appreciate the feedback, and we're constantly looking to improve.
Yeah, and hit the notification bell again to be updated whenever we post. Try at least once a week. Sometimes we will do 2 with D&D. We're working on even more content, putting stuff out there for you guys.
Yeah, we've got some Lego videos that you and I, as soon as you get back from your beach vacation, leaving me here to work. So you're finishing up your comics for the week and then jetting out with your aunt for a long weekend. It's not fair. Totally not fair. You're going to go live the beach life, and I'm just going to be stuck here in the peace and quiet. I don't think I've had peace and quiet for at least 6 years. Have fun on your beach trip.
He's more excited about this than me.
No, we'll miss you. So at least you got all your comic reading out of the way, and it didn't. I can only let you go because it didn't intersect with New Comic Day.
Yes, I'm so happy about that.
So that's it for this week. Thanks as always for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.